Hello folks, here I am with my greatest team for this week. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Murray Oliver and I play for the under 15-16s at the club. I've been around the club for about 15 years. This team's probably covering about the last 10 years because my first 5 years at rugby club I can't really remember. So around the club I help run the social media alongside Corgi and Morag. I help Callum McKenzie with the team manager duties on Saturday. I assist Colin Faulkner with the groundsman's jobs on Saturdays. Yeah, so that keeps me pretty busy. So now I will crack on with the team. So, number one, he was a pretty immovable player in the scrum, and he created a platform for other teams to play off. And he was devastating in the scrum, and he was a really mobile player for being a prop and could really get around the pitch. So in at loose head prop is going to be Mark Moomin Thompson. On to the hooker now. So he goes by the name of Tintin. He's a Kirkcaldy legend. He's the older and bolder Wallace brother. He's a very aggressive, dynamic, ball-carrying hooker. He's pretty mobile for the shape of him. He used to play out in the centre and he still sometimes hangs about there because he doesn't have the fitness to get into the rucks anymore. Then he's also got outstanding leadership. When you're maybe losing a game by 3 or 4 points, he'll be able to turn it for the team into a winning situation. And then you cannot forget his bus trips. They are just second to none. No one can get better than Greg on the bus. It just completely lightens the mood and has a wee bit of banter as well. So Greg Wallace in it too. Then in at 3, it's a Man Mountain. He is an outstanding scrummager. He's feared across Scotland for his scrummaging. When he was playing, he would go through 2 or 3 props a game. His scrummaging was that good. He's another very abrasive ball carrier. He would always knock a few people out of the way before he would be brought to ground. So in at number 3 is George Dodd Mangle. And then when I was younger, I can remember seeing the Kirkcaldy scrum dominate for years with George Mangle and Mark Thompson destroying front rows and some teams having to go to uncontested scrums. That's how dominant Kirkcaldy were, and it helped the backs and the rest of the team with the scrum and set piece always going forward, having 2 big reliable props there who would always get front football, so that always really helped the team. Now onto the second row. So this was a really tough choice for me. I've had to put one of them on the bench, who is possibly my favourite player ever, but he's had to drop to the bench just to accommodate it, as I feel like he would be a very good impact sub, so we'll come on to that in a bit. So my first second row is Stevie Mitchell, a very underrated second row. He's a turnover expert. You'll see him in mauls and you just don't know how he manages to get through. He also stirs up a lot of oppositions, and too many times possibly the referee, and that's maybe how he's the record yellow card and red card holder for the club. He's a very hardy farmer in the boiler room, never taking a back step from anything on the pitch. So first second row is Stevie Mitchell. Then on to the next second row. He was a pretty mobile second row, another one who would never take a backward step, stirred up too many referees and oppositions, and also found himself on the end of many yellow and red cards, always in scuffles with people. A very good line out option, had good hands for a big second row. So in its second row is going to be my dad, Stuart Oliver. Then both of these second rows did a lot of work that would go unnoticed on the pitch. You wouldn't necessarily do all the fancy stuff. It would be the big work in defence, the big ball carrying, but wouldn't always go noticed by everyone. So it was that extra few yards or the extra wee turnover that we get for the team that might change a game.
And at 6, a top back row player. He can play anywhere in the back 5. His fitness is unbelievable. He's got great hand, his ball carrying skills and energy. He's a thorn in the side. He's also played at Twickenham for the Navy. He's vastly experienced. So in at 6 is Big Red Matt Harvey. So in at 7, it's a player who really gets around the pitch. He's a very quick 7. He scores a lot of tries for the team. He's also a great leader, and it's really good to see him becoming co-captain with Craig Latham this year. His work rate in defence is also very good. He's always looking for the ball, a wee quick turnover. He tackles nice and low, and he'll lift the team so much with some inspirational plays. So in at 7 is Dale Turner. Then on to 8, it's another very abrasive ball carrier. You're probably getting a trend now. We've went for a lot of ball carriers in the forward pack to try and get the forwards front foot ball for this very exciting back line to come. So my 8 is a very devastating runner. He leaves defenders all over the pitch because they just can't bring him down when he bulldozes them through. He makes space for other players. He retired too young. Then in at 9, this was a really super hard choice, just behind the second rows and how hard it was. Gavin McKenzie was definitely one who was there, maybe just a wee bit too slow for the style of rugby that this team would probably be looking to play for. So he's just missed out on selection. And at 9, it's someone who's a very intelligent player, got great service, got an extraordinary burst of pace. He scores tries from all over the pitch. He's a wee zippy 9 and keeps defenders honest. So in at 9 is Scott Anderson. On to my 10, there is basically no debate about this. A very classy 10, looks like he's got all the time in the world, knows exactly what to do. He was a Samoan international, one of the best players that's possibly played in the Scottish club rugby. He's just phenomenal when you saw him play, and then you even saw that at the Fife Cup last year, just him and Cowie being able to take away oppositions. So in at 10 is Quinton Sanft. Then on to 11, another Kirkcaldy legend, a very underrated player in my eyes. He reads the game so well, he can pick attacks apart, doesn't have to move very far to break down the attack. He's got a very, very extremely deceptive change of pace. He goes from extremely slow to slow. He's very solid in D, and he causes a lot of damage on the crash ball. So on the wing is Ian Gillis. Ian is probably out of position on the wing, but with the depth of centres that we've had at Kirkcaldy over my time, I've had to put him on the wing. He's had a wee bit of experience there, but I feel like he definitely has to be in the team. Then in at 12, our former captain, a classy 12, another one who looks to have all the time in the world. Players really look up to him at all age groups through the club. He's devastating in defence and attack, and his step is talked about all over Scotland. Many players try to run through him and just haven't managed. His change of speed is very good as well. He doesn't necessarily look like the quickest player, but when he gets going, he's very quick. So in at 12, a classy player, Josh Laird. In at 13, another one of my favourites. He had a couple of seasons with the Blues. He was a very ball-playing 13. We sadly didn't keep him at Kirkcaldy for long. That's how good he was. His offloading game was outstanding. Some of the backs just didn't know what they were defending against when Sasa got the ball. You had no idea what he was going to do. He had the option to be a big hitter, but he could also play the ball as well. So another classy player who's coming in at 13 is Sasa Tolifa. On to 14, it's another player who is predominantly a centre. He's had a wee bit of time on the wing. He's only 17 years old and he's got a great future ahead of him. He's great any position in the backs. He loves contact, huge fitness levels. Got such a mix of options that he can play. He can pass, he can run. He's got a step, he's got pace, he's got everything that you would want for a winger. He slotted in straight away with the seniors this year. I think he would make a good modern day winger as well when he moves up the ranks. He's always busy looking for work and he's got a very bright future ahead of him. So in at 14, Thomas Glendinning. He's twinkle toes, an amazing runner of ball in hand. He's also got a hefty boot on him. He's bamboozled many defences. He's a wee slippery snake in between defences. He's got electric pace and a very hard player to bring down when you kick the ball to him. So in at 15 is Kurt Littlejohn. Now, onto my finishers. I've tried to stack the bench full of players who would come on and make the impact. So, 16, I've went without a hooker on my bench. He's played a bit at hooker. He's a mountain of a man. His ball carrying is unbelievable. If you can move Marcus in the scrum, you're doing amazing. He's busy around the field. He's got a huge hit on him and he's a very hard player to put down when he's running straight at you. So, 16 is Marcus Salt. So, 17 is another Kirkcaldy legend, many times on the wrong side of a referee. One of those ones that I can remember is at Kirkcaldy, got yellow carded just before half time. Mouthed off to a referee at half-time and found himself in a red card. But he's had some outstanding games and one of them was definitely at Biggar when it was a really horrendous day and he stood out compared to everyone in the team. Even though he spent 10 minutes in the bin, he was exceptional that day, doing everything, making big carries, scrummaging was exceptional. His hands are another great one. He's very deceptive in his play and he's always happy to mix it up with the opposition. So 17 is Mark Henderson. $18, I'm going without another prop because I think Stevie Mitchell could slip into prop if he had to. So my 18, he's a consistent, solid performer in the second row. He won't do anything fancy, but he'll carry hard for you. He'll defend great. His work rate's phenomenal. You'll get through mountains and mountains of work. He's another top guy. So in at 18 is Connor Wood. $19, my favourite Kirkcaldy player of all time. When I was younger, I can remember going along on Saturdays and I would always want to see him play. He was just my favourite player. Every Saturday I would get up and I would want to go and see him play. He was a goal kicking second row. Between Stevie, him and my dad, there was probably the highest red and yellow card count in Scotland with all the other players in Scotland combined. He was a hard-working second row, always in the mix during games. He was someone that you'd prefer to have on your team than play against, and he would always be in a scuffle with someone. and his line-out jumping was another great asset for him. So in at 19 is Kenny Fraser. '20, so my back row replacement, a very dynamic back row player. He was a bit of a terrier who would be busy around the park, big fitness levels. His jackal was great, got a vast amount of turnovers for the team in his defence, tackling. He would tackle really low, and that helped him being a small guy, being able to get down low, and the big players always there as a support and a nuisance to opposition attacks. He was a silent assassin on the pitch. You wouldn't necessarily see him, but he would always be there. So 20 is Bob van Rensburg. '21, this was a very difficult decision to leave him out. 4 great centres I've had to put into my starting team and not have any wingers in there. Another player who's played at a high level, classy centre, good hands. He's always looked at ease. He always looks as if he has plenty of time on the ball. He was a big hitter in defence, but he would sometimes miss a few. A huge threat going forward. Always had that deceptive turn of pace for a big guy, and he would be able to break through contact. So 21 is Cammy Goodall. '22, another centre that was very unlucky to miss out on the starting team, but I just couldn't miss him out in the squad completely. He is the slimmer, younger and slower Wallace brother. He's a big hitter. I can remember seeing Mark put many people in heaps on the floor when they would run straight at him. He had a very good crash ball and attack. His leadership was great as well. Similar to his brother, he was a Kirkcaldy legend, and then he moved on to Hamilton to turn into a bit of a legend there. He had a great career at Kirkcaldy, so 22 is Mark Wallace. So onto my final finisher. He's someone who I think is very underrated. Pound for pound, he's one of the best tacklers in the country. He's got great feet, great pace in attack and defence. He knows exactly where to be and reads the game so well. He's a hard player to bring down to the ground in attack when you kick freely to him. Not many players manage to get past him in defence. He's the man of the dodgy haircuts. I don't think he's ever had a good haircut, and he's got plenty of time though to try and get one before he begins to lose his hair. So 23 is Finlay Smith. So before I go into the coaches, here's some notable mentions that definitely could have been in there but just didn't make it just because players in that position were just a wee bit better than them. So Colin Harvey was definitely someone that could have been in there. I remember when I was younger running out with Colin Harvey to be mascot for the firsts, and that was a great experience. And Harv was a great player, solid in defence and attack, and covered so many different positions. He was deceptively quick. He didn't look that quick, but he had that wee turn of pace as well. Jordan Webster was someone that missed out as well. A bigger, different, not as quick winger, so he was definitely someone, a bit of a bigger ball carrier, one who was solid in defence. He could have definitely been in there. Willie Gray, he was someone that sadly missed out. Another great player, great servant for the club, getting back into coaching with the Wee Blues this year. He could have definitely been in there. Liam Nielsen could have been in there for his great leadership skills. He was someone that was definitely up there, another leader who led the club to great successes. Jack Pow, a devastating tackler and could cover so many different positions, very versatile player. He could have definitely been in there. His brother James Pow, he could have also been in there. We possibly didn't see the best of him at Kirkcaldy. Now he seems to be doing wonders at Stirling County in the Super 6. So it's great to see a Kirkcaldy boy doing so well there. Rhys Bonner is another one that could have been up there. another big ball carrying second row, puts in some amount of tackles and carries so well for the team. So he just missed out, maybe just on the fitness. Couldn't be carrying any players with wee knocks or niggles, and so he's made a chocolate, so I don't know how long he would have lasted in that team.
Another one that could have been mentioned in at half-backs would have been Craig Letham, but he just missed out just due to Quinny basically being immovable from the 10 slot, such a good player that he didn't manage to get out into that position. But Craig is a very good player, he can kick the team into great positions, and he's got a good set of hands and knows what to do when, so Craig Letham was definitely up there.
Danny Jennings, he was definitely in with a shout, another prop who's fairly been pushing through in the last few years, a very mobile prop. He's lost a lot of weight, getting a lot fitter, so Danny's really coming onto a game. Finished 3rd top try scorer this season, so that was a great achievement for him for being a prop and scoring so many tries. It seems to be a bit of a knack at Kirkcaldy with front rows scoring a lot of tries, so Danny was definitely up there but just missed out. So on to my coaches. So the head coach and backs coach is Quinton Sanft. He's an exceptional coach, has got such a great rugby knowledge, got so many contact, can read a game from the side of the pitch, knows exactly what's going to happen, speaks to the boys so well. Even though he might not be the loudest coach, he'll get the messages drilled right into the boys. So Quinny is the head coach and backs coach. Then the forward coach, to make up for Quinny's quietness, it's going to have to be Kenny Fraser. So 2 player coaches it would be. Kenny, he really made the players hardy. They wouldn't be taking a step back. They would be constantly in the face of other forwards. Kenny was a really abrasive coach, really got stuck in about it. So they're my 2 coaches. Then I can't miss out, I need to have 2 water boys in there. So my water boys are going to be George Shields and Tommy Muir, who have both filled in for me when I've been away on holidays, etc. When I've missed a few games over the last few years. So they've got to be in there to fill in. So thank you very much. Hope everyone's staying safe, and hopefully we'll see you back down at the club soon. Thank you.